Shalom, shalom, shalom. All glory and honor to Yahweh by Shema Mashak Yahushua, call Yahweh by Shem Yahushua, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua. Brother Hosea, Fisherman for Zion, coming at you again with another video, giving all glory and honor to Yahweh by Shema Mashak Yahushua, Yahweh, who be the title that the world uses for God, and Yahushua would be who the world uses, Jesus Christ. Through the Spirit and power Yahweh Shem Yahushua, coming at you with another video. I don't count this as a light thing, but nevertheless, Lord willing, this will be edifying to you. Maybe a short video through the Spirit, but nevertheless, not quenching the Spirit. Before we get into it, giving all glory and honor to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Peace and blessings to those that are still fighting day to day, doing all they can in these last days as prophecies pick up, as brothers and sisters continue to wax mighty, and Akwaths continue to wax mighty, watching out and preserving their spirit, and doing all they can in these last days. Peace and blessings to those that's going out presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice. Not a light thing, very serious, and one of the best jobs and one of the most toughest jobs that you can have is spreading forth this word on the streets and on the corners. Peace and blessings to those that's going out, and peace and blessings to the elders that's been in this thing, that's still striving and teaching and doing all they can for the ministry and for the nation of Israel through the Spirit and power Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Peace and blessings to you as well, and those that are not on the corners, going out in the elements, and the highest spiritual forces in front of the faces and in front of all wickedness, and amongst the scoffers and demons, but long as you praying and fasting and building up your spirit, peace and blessing to you as well. And to the wives that are reverencing their husbands, doing all they can to continue to watch over their household, their children, whatever the Most High have on your lot. Peace and blessing to you as well through the Spirit of power Yahweh Shem Yahushua, and the sisters that are not married and those that are not in congregations. Peace and blessings to you. Continue to read, pray, fast, and study, and build up your spirit. Pray for more faith, pray for more sincerity, more care for this truth, for your works that you're doing in this truth. Peace and blessings to you as well. But I believe I'm gonna name this being meek can carry you a long way in this truth, and a lot of times you may read and see things about being meek, and a lot of times you may stumble across things in a so-called New Testament, about being meek, but it's important to acquire that, because that is one of the characteristics of the Holy Spirit, that you read about in Galatians 5. So being meek is something that you want to have, something that you want to acquire, and something that you want to pray for, and that's a very beautiful talent, should I say, that you want to have, because that's a part of the fruits of the Spirit. But nevertheless, we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna pull this quick precept right quick in Galatians. This is Galatians chapter 5. Galatians chapter 5, and I'm gonna start at verse 22. Galatians chapter 5, starting at verse 22. And it reads, "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law." So after all of these fruits that is naming, being meek is something that you at least want to have. And if you are meek, and if you have meekness, that can carry you a long way in its truth. And being meek and having meekness is you being submissive to the Most High. You having that quiet submissiveness to the Most High, His power, His laws, statutes, commandments, and you're controlling your spirit you controlling your flesh, you know, and you basically like what a wife would do towards a husband. You can kind of look at it this way in a visual standpoint. You have a wife that has a husband, and she's basically doing all she can to be the most helpful wife that she can be towards this husband. So that's this somewhat the same way as being meek. The Most High had laid the foundation. He had left the word. He had told you what to do. So you're going to do everything you can to continue to be submissive to the Most High. If you're faced with tests and trials, you're gonna be strong in all of this, while allow him to fight your battles, allow him to answer to everything that you have a question for, instead of you trying to make a move and force the course of the river. So we're going to read this one more time. Galatians 5:23. Meekness, temperance, against such there is no law. So let me go to Matthew right quick. This is the book of Matthew, because Yahweh was meek, So, you will want to follow after the Most High. He gave you all of the blueprints that you could ever look for to if you wanted to follow and to pattern your life after somebody. You will want to do that after Christ, because he, the Messiah, the anointed one, the consecrated one, because he laid the foundation down. He came in the flesh. He walked the earth. He resisted the spiritual demon Satan. He didn't sin. He didn't go off. There was not an ill or vain thing that came out of his mouth, or that he allowed to be shown through his hand. So this is Matthew chapter 11, and I'm going to start at verse 29. Matthew chapter 11, verse 29. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. And meek is somewhat the same as being humble. Yahweh Shai, he knew all things. He knew the beginning from the ending. He spoke in parables. He didn't want everybody to be bugged out if he gave their direct answer, what they wanted him to say. He was humble. He didn't just come down and just have everybody bow down to him and to him to tell everybody to kiss his feet. Yahweh Shai was humble. He understood that, hey, it's my Father that do what he do. I'm coming on behalf of my Father. I'm representing my Father. So being an Israelite man or Israelite woman, we always have to be the same way. Everywhere we go, everything we do behind closed doors and out in the open public, we have to represent Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. So being meek is very, very important. And that's, one of the most bold spirits that you can have, because, if somebody, tempted you and tested you, just like Yahweh Shai, man, he was brought before, the chief priests and the scribes and the wicked men on the scene at the time. A lot of times he didn't say anything, man. But we in the flesh, we want to give an answer back. We want to have the last say so. We want to have the last word, the last laugh, as some people say. But sometimes you just got to be meek. Being meek is not being weak. That's not meaning you've been belittling yourself. You controlling your spirit. You're not going to show anger. You're not going to show rage. You're not going to throw hands or shoot the ones that some people say. You're going to let the Most High do what he do. You understand that the Most High is in control, and you also want to be meek. Being humble is on the same lines of that. Because even though you know a lot of the scriptures, a lot of the precepts, you can go line upon line, here a little, there a little, and you can expound on a lot of things. You don't always give an answer to everything. You know that this is the Most High word. This ain't your word. You know, this is the Most High power. This is not our power. The Most High has given us the things that he has given us to use and to magnify and glorify and reverence him, not ourselves, not, to receive some crown from another man or a woman. So getting back to it, Matthew chapter 11 and verse 29, take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, lowly in the mind, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So this is the same thing as being quoted in Psalms 37. So let's go to Psalms chapter 37 right quick. And I'm going to start at, let me see. This is Psalms chapter 37, and I'm going to start at 11. Psalms 37 and verse 11. But the meek shall inherit the earth and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. So, hey, this is the same thing that comes with having peace, because a lot of times Jake want to always, and when we say Jake, just in case you may be new coming to the truth, because there's somebody always waking up to the faith, to the truth of a lot of this, spiritual, high spiritual, the best thing you can get on the earth, this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, when we say Jake, we talking about the Israelites, the Israelite men, and Eve. When we say Eve, it's talking about the Israelite women, but nevertheless, staying on track, a lot of times, we can kind of bring what's the word I want to use? A lot of times we can be the ones that cause a lot of chaos in our lives because of things that we might say or things that we may do. And if we just shut up and just control our mouth and keep our hands, in our pockets, or keep our hands still, or should I say, hold thy peace, which means be quiet, hey, a lot of times we don't have to bring so much chaos in our lives. If we just be meek, have a silent spirit, and let the Most High speak and let the Most High move instead of trying to force the course of the river, things wouldn't be so. Not saying we won't have any problems, because as long as you're on this earth and Satan's kingdom, then you're gonna deal with something, but you want to try to minimize, and whatever comes your way, it'll just be of the Most High will, which everything is, but sometimes you don't have to deal with things that you put on the table, just let the Most High put it on the table. But the things that we put on the table, it could be because we don't know how to control our spirit. We want to say this, or we want to show how much we know, or we want to be self-righteous, or, we don't want nobody to be over us. And you got a lot of men and women, that have that spirit. Oh, I'm not going to answer to a man. I'm not going to follow another man. You got a lot of people that are against camps. You got a lot of people that, don't want to be submissive to somebody telling them what to do, and mainly it's a lot of those people, they may seem like, they're well studied and have a lot of knowledge and wisdom, but those are the ones that are not humble. Those are the ones that are not submissive. Those are the ones that have a lot of pride, and very proud. And Proverbs the 6th chapter, 16 verse on down, it tells you that the Most High hates that. A man that is prideful, a woman that is prideful and that is proud, have a proud look, You know, a lot of people that are against camps and that are solo and you know, not dealing with the camps, they have them spirits on them, man. You know, even you have some that are in camps that deal with that as well. But you want to be meek. You want to. If you don't have this spirit, you want to pray for this spirit. You want to ask the Most High to give you a double fold, a double portion of it, because it is very, very, very beneficial to have this. You know, and we're gonna read about it. But I'm gonna read this again. This is Psalm chapter 37, quoting, you know, what we just read, and I'm gonna get another precept on this too, Lord willing. This is Psalm chapter 37 and verse 11. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. So let's go back to Matthew right quick. Let's go to Matthew chapter 5. You know, and get what some would call the Beatitudes and the blessed art thou. This is Matthew chapter 5, and I'm gonna start at verse 5. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 5. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. You know, so right off the grip, it said, blessed are the meek, you know. And being meek, once again, is you controlling your spirit. You letting the Most High have full control, total control, you know. Hey, and Moses was meek, man. You know, it said Moses was the meekest man that was on the face of the earth at the point in time, you know, according to when it was written. Let's get that right quick. This is Numbers chapter 12. Let's go to Numbers chapter 12. The book of Numbers, and I'm gonna start at this is Numbers chapter 12, and I'm gonna start at verse 3. Numbers chapter 12, verse 3. Now, the man Moses was very meek above all the men which were upon the face of the earth. You know, so Moses, he was meek. You know, Moses, he had patience, you know, and being meek, it also requires you being patient and long suffering with your brother, you know, loving your brother, you know, making sure, you know, your brothers and sisters are well taken care of according to the spiritual realm of things, because that's the reason why you have this spirit, you know. This is why this spirit was put on you, you know, to bring forth this fruits of the spirit, you know, to help and take care of the Most High's flock, you know, because the prophets, you know, they were sent to prophesy to the Most High people and to reverence and magnify his name. And, you know, having a meek spirit, you know, it also helps, and it is beneficial and used for reverencing and magnifying Yahweh Shem Shah's name, you know. So, you know, Moses was meek, you know, he was patient, you know, he dealt with a lot of stuff, you know, that a lot of people may not deal with during these days of age. But Moses, you know, he was allowing the Most High to have total control of his life, you know. That doesn't mean he didn't fall short, you know, but, it's a lot to do with, you know, him allowing the Most High to have his way with his life. So let's go to Exodus right quick. Let's go to Exodus, you know, to kind of get into a little bit of that. This is Exodus chapter 32. I'm going to start at this is Exodus chapter 32, and I'm going to start at verse 7. Exodus 32 and verse 7. And Yahweh said unto Moses, go get thee down for thy people, which thou broughtest out. And, you know, he was, getting the two stones and the tables, and, you know, he was, dealing with being in a whole different element. Exodus 32 and 7. And Yahweh said unto Moses, go get thee down for thy people, which thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt, have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made them a molten calf, and have worshipped it, and have sacrificed thereunto, and said, These be thy gods, O Israel, which have brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And Yahweh said unto Moses, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. So Moses, he won't dealing with just some, quiet, cool, calm, and collected, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. He won't just dealing with any Israelite, any Israelite woman, man, or child. He was dealing with some people that was dealing with idolatry, very wicked, a high level of wickedness, So he was dealing with a lot. And you have to be long suffering. You have to be meek when you're dealing with people like this. Exodus 32:9. And Yahweh said unto Moses, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. Now therefore let me alone, that my wrath may wax hot against them, and that I may consume them, and I will make of thee a great nation. Salaki. Verse 11, Exodus 32, verse 11. And Moses besought Yahweh his God power, and said, Yahweh, why doeth thy wrath wax hot against thy people, which thou hast brought forth out of the land of Egypt with great power and with a mighty hand? So he kind of, was questioning him, like, hold on, how about Shem Yahweh, hey, let's kind of look at this a different way. He was being meek and coming on behalf of his brothers and his sisters, man. And I'm gonna get this quick preset right quick. I'm gonna go back to Galatians. Galatians chapter 6. This is Galatians chapter 6, and I'm gonna start at the top. Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, and we know Moses was spiritual, he was praying, he was, pleading to the Most High, he was talking to the Most High like he was talking to, like a father and a son was having a conversation. Ye which are spiritual, restore such an one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted. So, Moses was considering himself as well, and he was showing that spirit of meekness, allowing the Most High to have full control, that quiet, that humble spirit. So let's go back. Exodus chapter 32. Exodus chapter 32, verse 11. And Moses besought Yahweh his God power, and said, Yahweh, why doeth thy wrath wax hot against thy people, which thou hast brought forth out of the land of Egypt with great power and with a mighty hand? Wherefore should the Egyptians speak and say, for mischief did he bring them out, to slay them in the mountains, and to consume them from the face of the earth? Turn from thy fierce wrath and repent of this evil against thy people. Meaning, instead of just doing, destroying your people, just kind of have mercy on them. That's what it was going into, and that's what it's meaning. Repent. The Most High was about to, put the Israelites to death, but he had mercy on them through Moses. Exodus 32:13. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, thy servants, to whom thou swearest by thy own self, and saidest unto them, I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven, and all this land that I have spoken of will I give unto your seed, and they shall inherit it forever. Verse 14, Exodus 32:14. And Yahweh repented of the evil which he thought to do unto his people. So, instead of destroying them, Moses pleaded for the Israelites on behalf, to prevent them from being cut off, and that's a sign of him showing his fruits of him being meek, you know. So let me get another one right quick. In Matthew, let's go back to Matthew 21 right quick. This is Matthew chapter 21. And I'm going to start at verse 4. So I'm going to start at verse 3. Matthew chapter 21, verse 3. And if any man say aught unto you, ye shall say, the Lord had need of them, and straightway he will send them. All this was done that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet, saying, tell ye the daughter of Zion, behold, thy king cometh unto thee, meek and sitting upon an ass, and a colt the foal of an ass. And the disciples went and did as Yahushua commanded them. You know, so Yahushua was known to be meek, you know. Yahushua was known to be humble, you know, especially somebody of his stature, you know, the most famous man that ever walked the earth and that would ever walk the earth, you know. He wasn't boasting. He wasn't, you know, just, you know, doing any and everything, man. He had a mission, and, you know, he was about his father's business. He was representing for Yahweh, you know, every day, every second, every minute, you know. So let me get another precept right quick. So one I had on my mind. Let me see. Let me see what I wanted right quick. I kind of wanted let's go to the book of, let me see, Salaki, I kind of thought, let's go to, let me see, Salaki, I can't remember what this precept was. I'm trying to find it right quick. Psalms. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 25. Psalms chapter 25, and I'm gonna start at verse 8. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 25, verse 8. Good and upright is Yahweh, therefore will he teach sinners in the way. Verse 9, the meek will he guide in judgment, and the meek will he teach his way. You know, so the meek, how about Shem Abishai? He's gonna allow his judgment to be established, man. You know, so will he guide in judgment? And he, you know, and the meek will he teach his way, you know. So let me see what I was just thinking about this precept. This is Psalms chapter 27 and verse 11. Psalms chapter 27 and verse 11. Teach me thy way. This is what Moses said. Teach me thy way, O Yahweh, and lead me in a plain path because of my enemies. You know, so the Most High is going to lead and teach somebody, those who are being submissive to him, who is going to submit to him, his word, his power, all his doings. You know, he's not going to lead or teach somebody that's being wicked or that's just blatantly going off. You know, that's Wisdom of Solomon, the first chapter. You know, let's get that right quick. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1. You know, he's not going to teach, you know, somebody that's just, you know, smoking weed or just, you know, going off, you know, for the hell of it. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1, and I'm going to start at verse 3. Wisdom of Solomon 1 and 3. For forward thoughts separate from God, And his power, when it is tried, reproveth the unwise. Verse 4, Wisdom of Solomon and the Apocrypha, chapter 1 and verse 4. For into a malicious soul wisdom shall not enter, nor dwell in the body that is subject unto sin. So he's not going to lead or teach somebody, that doesn't want to submit to him. They just going to try to figure out what they need to do, what's best for them, or figure out their own ways. That's going off. That's going contrary to what the word says. Let's go to Proverbs right quick. Proverbs chapter 3. This is Proverbs chapter 3, and I'm going to start at verse 5. Trust in Yahweh with all thine heart. And that's what you do when you have a meek spirit. That's when you have meekness. When you have meekness, you trust it in the Most High with all your heart. You're going to inquire of the Most High before you make a left turn or right turn, or before you keep going to the front, or before you take steps back. You're going to trust in Yahweh Shem Yahushua. That's being meek. That's what meekness is, being humble. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5. Trust in Yahweh with all thine heart, and lean not unto thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. So, just like Moses said, lead me, when you acknowledge the Most High, he's going to direct your path. That's exactly what he's going to do, So let me get another, Psalms 149. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 149. And I'm going to start at verse 4. Psalms 149 and verse 4. For Yahweh taketh pleasure in his people. He will beautify the meek with salvation, So, those who submitting themselves to the Most High and his word, he's going to beautify them with his salvation. And that's exactly what he's going to do. Let's go to 1 Timothy. I'm going to get a couple more. This is 1 Timothy, and I'm going to start at I'm going to start at 1 Timothy chapter 6, and I'm going to start at verse 11. 1 Timothy chapter 6, starting at verse 11. And it reads, But thou, O man of God power, flee these things and follow after righteousness, godliness, faith, love, patience, meekness. So meekness is not a light thing. It's not something that, you just see a couple times in the scriptures and you're like, it's not really that big of a deal. It's a big deal. Submitting to the Most High power is a big deal, because if you have a wife, if you're a man and you have a wife, you will want your woman to submit to you. What you say, take your advice seriously. If you tell her the word is, or I don't want you to word that, you want her to, to respect you. You want her to respect your words and take things seriously, the same way Yahweh Shem Yahushua for us. He would want us to take him seriously. And what happened when we didn't take the Most High seriously? Let's get it. Let's go to Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 40. Let me see. 42 is what I want. I'm gonna go to Isaiah 43. This is Isaiah chapter 43, and I'm gonna start at verse. I'm gonna start at 22. Isaiah chapter 43, and I'm gonna start at verse 22. But thou hast not called upon me, O Jacob, but thou hast been weary of me, O Israel. Thou hast not brought me the small cattle of thy burnt offerings, neither hast thou honored me with thy sacrifices. I have not caused thee to serve with an offering, nor worded thee with incense. Thou hast brought me no sweet cane with money, neither hast thou filled me with the fat of thy sacrifices. But thou hast made me to serve with but thou hast made me to serve with thy sins. Thou hast wearied me with thy iniquities. Even I am he that blotted out thy transgressions out of my own sake, and will not remember thy sins. Put me in remembrance, let us plead together, declare thou that thou mayest be justified. Thy first father had sinned, and thy teachers have transgressed against me. Therefore I have profaned the princes of the sanctuary, and have given Jacob to the curse and Israel to the reproaches. So when we didn't respect the Most High, when we just looked at the Most High like he was a joke, or his words like he was a joke, or any prophet that he set up to come back and restore and give us laws, statutes, and commandments, we looked at him like a joke. We didn't take him seriously, and he's nobody to play with, man. So we have to submit to the Most High. We have to, or else we're going to get cut off, and we're going to get destroyed, and we're going to get blotted out, So let me get a couple more, and I'm going to wind down. So let's go to 2 Timothy right quick. 2 Timothy chapter 2. And I'm going to start at verse 20. I'm going to start at verse 25. 2 Timothy chapter 2, starting at verse 25. In meekness, instructing those that oppose themselves. So let's read it again. In meekness, instructing those that oppose themselves, if God peradventure will give them repentance to the acknowledging of the truth, and that they may recover themselves out of the snare of the devil, who are taken captive by him at his will. So just the same way as you doing yourself, you want to help others as well, and that's a characteristic of somebody that's meek, that's showing meekness. You're opposing yourself as well as you would do for others. Let me go to Titus chapter 3. This is Titus chapter 3, and I'm going to start at the top. Titus chapter 3. Put them in mind to be subject to principalities and powers, to obey magistrates, to be ready to every good work, to speak evil of no man, to be no brawlers, but gentle, showing all meekness unto all men. So you want to be showing, a submissiveness of the Most High unto all men, because that's the same way. That's the same thing Yahweh Shah basically showed, unto all men when he was teaching and going to and fro. He was healing people. He was showing patience to people. He was showing, that humble spirit towards people. He didn't say move, or I got somewhere to go, I got something to do. Everybody back up. We don't know everything that went on, because it led to believe that it was a lot, and it was just a lot to scribe down. But he was showing that meek spirit, showing that he was submissive to his father as well. So let me get one more. I'm gonna get James right quick. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shah. This is the book of James chapter 1, and I'm gonna start at verse 20. James chapter 1 and verse 20. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God. And that's what's going into having a meek spirit, man. You really want to, hit somebody, but you allowing the Most High to humble you and to have you control yourself. That's what meek is. That's what being meek is. James 1 and 20. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God. Wherefore lay apart all filthiness and superfluity of naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your souls. So having a meek spirit, that can save your soul, man. You submitting to Yahweh Shem Yahushua and his word, and you not making any moves until he make that move. That can save your soul. And giving all glory and honor to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. That's my last precept. Lord willing, this was edifying to you. Through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Brother Hosea, fisherman for Zion. Lord willing, everybody's staying built up in the spirit. Lord willing, everybody's getting ready for feast of dedication for us and the ministry, Fisherman for Zion. We will be keeping it Saturday at sundown. I believe that's December the 17th. That's so-called Saturday after the Shabbat at sundown through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Keep striving and keeping doing, praying, fasting, and reading and doing all you can. Of course, you can't fast during the feast. It's an 8-day feast. You can read about that in First Maccabees, the 4th chapter. Just read the whole chapter. It's a mighty chapter. First Maccabees, the 4th chapter. Mainly starting at First Maccabees 4, chapter 4, starting at verse 52, getting in depth about the feast of dedication. But it would behoove you to read the whole chapter. And even if you want to get even more in depth in it, read the chapter before and read that chapter also and the next one after that through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Lord willing, this was edifying. I don't count this as a light thing to do so. Brother Hosea, fisherman for Zion, giving all glory and honor to Yahweh by Shem Mashiach Yahushua, call like Yahweh by Shem Mashiach Yahushua. Peace and blessing to each and every one. Continue to pray, fast, read, stay built up, stay watching. Revelation 16:15, making sure your garments are not defiled, making sure you're not found in nakedness through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Lord willing, we can continue to do some more videos on being humble and, fruits of the spirit, but nevertheless, continue to stay enduring and striving through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Shalom. Kwam Yashua.